Hello, my name is Paul Dante. I'm a software developer at the University of British Columbia, and I'm here today to talk to you about FRDR Map Search, which is powered by Geodisy and was funded by NDRIO. Before I start about the FRDR Map Search, I should probably talk about what FRDR is. FRDR is the Federated Research Data Repository. It's a platform for researchers to deposit research data. In addition, it's also a search platform for discovering research data, both data sets that have been deposited in FRDR itself, as well as many other Canadian research data repositories. FRDR is a collaborative effort. It's a lot of different organizations around Canada have been involved in its creation, as you can see on this slide.
FRDR Map Search is a discovery tool to help researchers by allowing you to use a map to search for research data instead of having to use the traditional text search on the FRDR website. It's an adaptation of the Geodisy project, an open source project originally funded by Canary to help Canadian researchers to find Canadian research data. The results are all tied to FRDR's research data indexing. Currently, as of June 2021, there are about 84,000 data sets that can be searched through the map search interface. Data can be hard to find if it's based on a location. From my own experience, when I was a researcher, I studied salmon habitat on the Encampment River in Wyoming and Colorado. If I wanted to do a search for other research in that area, it became a very complex search in the text search. It'd be something along the lines of this. First, I'd look in Wyoming, but it could also be YW or Y period, W period, but I only want southern Wyoming. But it could also be northern Colorado, but someone might have put it in Medicine Bow National Forest, or the Encampment River Wilderness, or encampment with national or park or forest, or the Houston Park Wilderness, et cetera, et cetera. It gets ugly very quickly, and it's easy to miss out on some key term that you didn't think of. What you get with FRDR's map search interface is a great map to refine your results, and then from there you can refine it even more using other filters. FRDR Map Search reuses four main open source software components. The first one is Geodisy, which is used for metadata retrieval, data retrieval, and processing of both metadata and data. Secondly, we use GDAL, which is used to pull bounding box information and projection information from geospatial files. Then we use GeoServer for dataset preview if there is a geospatial file. And finally, GeoBlacklight is the discovery layer that researchers will be interacting with to find their research data they're looking for. I'm going to move quickly over a pipeline summary of how the project works. First, metadata are pulled from the harvester's database. And when available, geospatial data files are downloaded as well. Bounding boxes are generated for each data set. Geospatial files are then put into GeoServer to allow for preview. Metadata are then crosswalked into two different standards, ISO 19115 and GeoBlacklight JSON. The metadata and geospatial files are then indexed into GeoBlacklight for discovery. In addition, metadata are also available on OpenGeo metadata. So bounding boxes in FRDR Map Search. Without bounding boxes, the map search can't function because GeoBlacklight actually requires a bounding box for every record in order for it to be searched. As a result, all data sets that are searchable on the map search have a bounding box that was either entered as a bounding box in the metadata itself, or there's a geospatial file, or additionally, one thing that sort of sets us apart from other geospatial searches is the fact that you can have place names in the metadata, and we can generate bounding boxes from those as well. Each geospatial file or set of coordinates, if they're multiple for a single data set, get their own record in the GeoBlacklight search. So if there are 5 bounding boxes associated with a data set, that means there will be 5 separate records in GeoBlacklight, one for each bounding box. If a data set can't have a bounding box either generated or found, then that would not be searchable via the map. This is the general software architecture for FRDR Map Search. First, Canadian data are pulled into FRDR. From there, we send a file from FRDR to the middleware where it's processed. Files are put into GeoServer. Then metadata are sent from there to GeoBlacklight, where researchers can search for them. I talked about how there are two different forms of metadata that we are creating. We're starting off from the FRDR harvester, pulling a Dataverse-like JSON. The reason we're doing that is the original Geodisy project was designed to interact with Dataverse directly. And as a result, there was already a parser for the Dataverse schema. Rather than recreate a new parser for a new metadata schema being pulled into the project, we decided just to create a Dataverse-like schema and pull that into this project. From there, we create the ISO 19115 and the GeoBlacklight schema by pulling out of the metadata that we were given, and then also creating some of our own. I'll talk to you about this project and how it's set up, but now I'm going to show you what it actually looks like. This is the landing page for the FRDR Map Search. As you see, it's currently focused on North America. You have two options. Either you can enter keywords, in which case we'll actually search the whole world for those keywords, or you can move the map around, zoom in, zoom out, and then click the search here button, in which case it will search in whatever location you picked. Once you have started your search, you're going to get onto this page, which is a list of data sets that fit your criteria. As you can see on the right side, there's the map that you zoomed in on or zoomed out on. In the middle are the data sets, and then on the left side, you have facets that you can choose to refine your results. Up at the top, you will notice there's a search for keywords. This is if you want to add additional keywords to your search that will continue the refining process. Once you find a data set that you want to look at, click on it, and you'll see a page like this. This data set is a fairly representative data set for much of what is in the FRDR Map Search. At the bottom, you can see a map which shows the bounding box. Up above that, you can see metadata about that data set. The important thing in there is that we have a link directly back to the original data set in its repository, so that if you want to look at all of the information from that data set, you can see it at its original source. On the right side, there are some tools such as a downloading of the ISO metadata. Also, this record is, as you can see from the title, is number 3 of 12. There were 12 bounding boxes associated with this data set. That data relations on the right side is a link to the other 11 bounding boxes associated with this data set. So this data set did not have a geospatial file, so there was no ability to preview. If there is a geospatial file, we'll show on the next slide. So with geospatial files, you can see on the left side, there was a shapefile associated with it. On the right side, there was a geotip associated with that data set. Other than actually previewing the data set, which is a very nice feature, there are a couple other options in the tools on the right side. The first big one is downloading of the original file. This will actually download from the original repository so that repositories can maintain their download statistics. So you will not be downloading it from FRDR Map Search itself, you'll be downloading from the original repository. Additionally, there are some other tools in the tool section, web services and Open Encarta. If you want to keep up to date, there are a couple of different ways you can do that. A couple of websites, including the Research Commons at the library at UBC, which is sort of the main hub where the Geodisy project was created, and so also where much of the customization for FRDR is based out of. If you have any questions after this talk, feel free to contact either myself or Mark Goodwin, the metadata coordinator of the project. But for now, we're going to go to the live Q&A. Thank you.